Recording? It's recording. Hi, everybody. Welcome back for another episode of HitaTalk. I get so dang excited, and I'm pretty sure you're thrilled for another episode. And I'm continuing the Wonder Woman of the Twin Cities with the feature of the Twin Cities MomSquad. And if you haven't figured out what that is, just go back through HitaTalk and Twin Cities MomSquad and all my channels just to see what I do and talk about all the time. So today, you see the lovely, glowing Katie Hennen from Falco Creative Media is here, and we're going to chat about all things mom, boss, life. Katie, welcome, girl.
Thanks for having me. I've been so excited about this. I'm just like, I don't know. I just love you, obviously, and I'm just so honored to be a part of the squad. So I'm looking forward to all of your questions.
I think we should just give praise to our mutual friend, Emily Conroy, from connecting us earlier in 2020, because I think that's how we connected, right? Other than IG.
We've never met in person, which is like so bizarre to me that I feel like we've known each other forever, but we've actually never met in person because we met at the very beginning of quarantine.
Yes, and we were supposed to do an event in person, and then of course we know how the rest of the year went, so it was virtual. And here we are, we're continuing the theme. And so today we're gonna talk all about you and mom life and biz life and just rockstar woman vibes. So before we dive into all those details of the work thing, let's talk about little Katie and where you grew up and what you were like as a child. Tell me all of those fun details.
Well, I am the youngest of six from a big Catholic Italian family. So 3 girls, 3 boys. I grew up in Kansas City, Overland Park, which is just a suburb south of downtown. And I went to college at Creighton University, and that's where I met my husband in Omaha, Nebraska. And I'm sure we'll get all into what brought me to Minnesota. All of my family is still in Kansas City with the exception of one brother who's in New York. And I have 9 nephews and nieces. And I would love to tell you about what it was like as a little girl, but I don't know how much time everybody has.
We just have to have a whole series on Katie's childhood. What is one of the most prominent memories you have that you just are all warm and fuzzy about, or was super crazy in the household?
I mean, in our family, it was just a really just rowdy family, exactly what you would imagine a large Italian family being. There was recently a national podcast about our family. It's called Family Ghosts. Yes, because I think they just realized how quirky and wild we were. There's a story about how somebody in our family ate leftover Chinese food, and it has just become this huge thing in my family. Every time we're together, we're still trying to figure out who ate the Chinese food. So this podcast went in to see if they could solve it. So yeah, that right there in a nutshell is my family.
You have okay, hold on. Tell me the podcast again.
Family Ghosts.
Family Ghosts.
Yeah, they did it last summer, so that would have been July 2019. Okay. They flew out to Kansas City from New York and spent 3 days with our family. If you listen to the podcast, you will learn everything you need to know about everyone.
About the family. And will we find out who ate the Chinese food?
I don't know. You'll have to listen. I can't tell you.
Cliffhangers. Okay.
I can't tell you. But yes, as a little girl, and it's in the podcast, I was a troublemaker. I was always in trouble. I was wild. I got kicked out of kindergarten.
Katie, hold the horses here.
When people hear this about me, they're usually beyond shocked. Just what? I was a wild child.
I really want to dive into this a little more. Maybe we'll have to do more Instagram live videos or something.
Yeah, there we go.
Wild child, crazy quirky family. There's a podcast about who ate the Chinese food in your household. This is already the best conversation yet. After kindergarten, I'm assuming they let you back in at some point, and you finished.
I had to go to a different school. Yes. They quite literally kicked me out of the school. But yes, keep going.
And then eventually you made it through 12th grade, I assume.
I did. I did. I made it through Catholic education from kindergarten through college. So
Wow. Okay.
yeah,
What did you study in your 4 years out of high school?
I was a theater major actually, because at Creighton they don't have a big broadcast journalism department. So, and I actually think I went into college thinking I would be on Broadway. I don't really know what I thought because I don't sing. I dance. I do not sing. I have the worst voice ever. So um, I don't know why I thought that would happen for me. So
You
I
do
kind of,
need, that's 50% of the talent. Like you for
yeah,
sure have to know how to like have a rhythm and dance.
and I did dance.
Put in another audio over it, right?
Yeah, yeah. I was not a triple threat, to say the least. So I chose the broadcast track, I think like first semester of college. It was early on, I knew once I kind of got over this not going to be on Broadway thing, I decided to be on television. That was my dream.
Oh my gosh. Oh, you know what? Our friend Emily and you and I think all have that in common is like
Yeah.
the broadcast, the journalism. I knew we
So
connected.
Emily and I like got to talking. We were ex-reporters.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so after that whole thing, did you do the reporting? Were you on the field? What was that like for you?
Yes. So I graduated in 2009, and right out of college, I mean, obviously in the news world, and actually I was sports world. So I wasn't even news world. I made that decision early on. I wanted to go in sports. Sports was my passion. It's what I knew. It was what I was good at. Um, I knew I had to get my foot in the door. That's the thing, right? Everybody says, get your foot in the door, get whatever jobs you can. So right out of college, I had 4 jobs, literally. I worked, I'm not exaggerating, maybe 21, 22 hours a day, because I did work at the news station starting at 3 a.m. I would work a baseball game till midnight.
Oh my God.
So I was working as much as I possibly could. And one of the jobs was a freelance camera operator for the local sports station. It was called Metro Sports at the time. And one day, I don't remember, one of the producers was like, what do you actually want to do? Do you always just want to be a camera operator? And I was like, well, I do run camera, but my job be on camera. And so long story short, the next week they threw me on a live event as a sideline reporter. They had never seen any of my work on air. So it was a big risk they were willing to take. And the rest is history. I ended up working there for 8.5 years as a sideline reporter and sports anchor. They transferred me to Lincoln, Nebraska to cover the Huskers for 3.5 years. And then they transferred me back to Kansas City to cover the Chiefs, the Royals, and the Kansas Jayhawks. So I was on the field. I traveled every week with the teams. It was truly my dream job.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so boring.
I know. I can't complain. I absolutely loved it. I had so many amazing experiences. I was super close with everybody I worked with. I got to know the teams, the coaches. So it was a very, very good opportunity. And
Did you ever get to meet like the cheerleaders?
I actually really never did because they were always, I mean, if we were at, say, a KU basketball game, they were on the court the whole time, you know, and I was usually, because I would run camera. So I was a photographer, even though it's video, you call it a photographer, and I would report on air. So I was like a one-woman band. So I was shooting the entire game, and then after I would throw up a camera and report on the game.
Yeah, so there's just not a lot of time for much engagement. And the cheerleaders it's a hard job. Obviously, I know this. I've done high school, not college or pro, but just like, man, they're working as hard as the football players.
They have to be on like the whole game. Yeah. They don't get a break. Even during the breaks, they're the entertainment. So
no, and maybe you took a couple of breaks, but honestly, that's a hard job too, is to play both behind the camera and on the camera. And props to you, obviously rocking the Wonder Woman hat early on.
Thank you. I did sometimes get a photographer, especially if it was a big game, but I always loved shooting, which is kind of that's the whole story of why I opened Falco Creative Media. So
That's the name of the game. Okay, so let's talk about hubby. We got to bring him in. You guys have a very fascinating story.
so we met, like I said, in college at Creighton in 2007. And I went on to make my dream happen. And then he went to optometry school. So, and he went to school in Memphis, and I had my job in Kansas City. So we ended up doing long distance for about 7 years. We did have a break in there, but we don't need to get into all that. We did have to take, just a little break. And even our first year of marriage, we lived apart. So he actually lived here in Minnesota and I lived in Kansas City. So that's what brought me to Minnesota. We were just kind of like, okay, I don't think we can do long distance our whole marriage. So
wow,
I ended up leaving the job and moving here.
What did you, what were you thinking for like the work side of the move? Were you just gonna make the move and live your sweet marriage life here and then figure out the rest? Or did you kind of already have some things lined up while you moved here?
I don't really know. I mean, people are always like, why did you open your company? And I'm like, I really don't know. So he's from here originally, and I love Minnesota. His family's here. All of his relatives are here. And he joined his dad's practice as an optometrist. So it's a family business, and that was important for me to be here and support him. So I did, when I approached the sports station, Metro Sports, I definitely approached it as, I'm moving, but I can still work for you. So for the longest time, I thought I was just gonna live here and commute back to Kansas City. I did that for probably the first 4 or 5 months. I would fly out to Lubbock, Texas to meet them there for a Kansas football game. And then obviously that just got to be too much. So I was like, okay, I'll look for a job here. I didn't look very hard. I think, and I hate saying this out loud, but I had such a good gig in Kansas City and I loved what I did. And truly, it was just like, again, my dream job. I loved who I worked with. I loved everybody. It was really hard for me to think about starting over. And in the broadcast industry, especially when you're on air, I would start from scratch, and I just don't know that I wanted to do that after the experiences I had. I covered the Royals in the World Series in 2015, so it was just hard for me to think about starting over. And I'm not saying I wouldn't have, because I did love but I think I just needed a new path. So that's why I decided to open my company. I think I thought maybe I would be on air and kind of do more of the reporting side in my business. And then I quickly learned that I really enjoyed working with other companies.
Wow, look, that is such a journey of growth and probably 1,000 internal emotions. And then, like you said, a new path. Oh my gosh.
So I don't even know, like, I one day was taking a walk and was like, I'm just going to open my own company. I'm going to do sports. I'm going to be on air. I'm going to figure this out. And then now my company looks totally different and I love what I do now. And I wouldn't trade it for the world because I have awesome clients. So
good. Oh, I'm so glad. And I love seeing less than a year's worth of us connecting, just like all the multitude of your work and just the fun ways that you integrate what you're so good at, and then client interaction in a very strange 2020 COVID world. But I feel like that is the epitome of resiliency. So props to you, sister.
Oh, thank you. It's not always easy, but we're just figuring it out as we go.
No, for sure. Okay, so let's talk about Falco Creative Media. You have the cutest logo ever. The C and the O looks like a camera, like a film reel. I pay attention to stuff like that. Tell me what Falco Creative Media is and does.
Okay, well, I do have to give a shout out to one of my high school girlfriends. She's super talented. She created my logo, Brianna George. So yeah, props to her, because I was like, just make something, because that was how my whole company started. Like, let's just figure this out.
Right.
So Falco Creative Media is a video production company, obviously based in the Twin Cities, but I do still do some work in Kansas City. and I'm willing to travel. I help companies with their branding, promos, whatever they need. Right now, social media videos. I do that. Like I said, had thought I was going to go the sports route, and now I'd say 90% work with businesses. So I don't do weddings, I don't do personal videos. It's strictly business to business. And my whole goal is to tell a story, right? That's what I did. I was a reporter. I love to tell stories. So that's what I do. I get in, I shoot, I edit, I produce, I do it all. I don't have anybody on my staff yet. I don't know if I will, because I love shooting, I love editing, I love producing, and I love reporting. So any kind of video you can think of, I would love to list all the videos I do, but I'm open to anything that a company wants.
Oh my gosh, she's like literally a genie in a bottle. You just, poof,
I don't know about that.
it's everything. Well,
I don't know about that.
Two funny things. So I could totally understand the optometry side of things with your hubby. My brother's an optometrist in the Twin Cities.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Boom. Yeah, he's in Lakeville. Where is your husband practicing?
Inver Grove Heights and Stillwater.
Okay. Well, so if anybody needs an optometrist in Inver Grove Heights or Stillwater, there you go. If anyone needs optometrist in Lakeville,
Perfect.
And then the video side of things. So my hubby is a videographer and editor, more of like senior editor. He loves the branding and the strategy aspect of it. So I appreciate so much of like, honestly, everything that goes behind the scenes, which clients just don't know what they don't know. So when someone says, hey, can you film this and then make a quick edit? Y'all, that quick edit, it takes like 6 days. Like, it's not a quick edit. And then you gotta like upload it, and the file is so damn big, it takes like 6 hours. I mean, all this stuff. So for someone to say filming and editing is like, you are a unicorn woman.
Well, it's always funny because that's like the first question somebody will ask is, how much will this video cost? And I'm like, well, we need to like really dive into what kind of video you want, because like you said, like editing can take 6 days. It's very hard to even give somebody a quote until I know exactly what they want. And not that they need to know exactly, we can work together and figure that out. But that's just always kind of funny to me because, there's just so many pieces that go into it. Even if I shoot for 8 hours, I have to go 8 hours of footage to organize it, to sort it, to kind of get it into these little bins so that I can edit it and make it into a final product.
When my husband was doing that, pulling selects, I'm like, that sounds like the most tedious job. I am not built for that. I will record it. I am the on-camera person. All praises to editors, because honestly, featured films, short films, 30-second social media video, it is a lot of work. So for you to have all of that in one is magical.
Well, thank you. And you guys are the perfect team, though. That's wonderful that he can edit and you could be the talent.
I've been trying to get him to do like a family vlog for probably the last 3 years. He hasn't been interested. He'll entertain it for about 5 seconds, and then he'll be like, no, I'll let you do that. I'm like, well, come on. We have so much we could do and share, and it could be really like snazzy and, whatever. So
isn't that interesting? Like, I don't have any professional looking videos of my children. It's just like me throwing up my phone. And I work really closely with a photographer, and she always laughs. She's like, I don't have any pictures of my kids. And I'm like, yeah, it's just, I think when you do it every day, you kind of forget to actually do it for your personal life.
Yeah, or creating a promo video for your own work. I saw you created a demo, obviously, in the workshop that we did for the Rose Brunch with Emily's World Encounters event. And it's one of those things, that people don't think about when they have a brand. They can tell other people how to do things, but then they're like, wait, I should probably listen to my own advice. And when you're trying to work with building and raising a family, it's hard, which goes into my next topic of mom boss life. As a team of one, how does Falco Creative Media, aka Katie Hennen, operate with like 2 littles?
Yeah, they're little.
And a hubs. So what does your world look like with balancing all those things? I hate the word balance.
Yes. Oh, I still can't figure out the whole balance thing. And I talk about it all the time as if like I am great at balancing, but I'm truly not. So I had, okay, well, first of all, I found out I was pregnant with my first, James, 2 months after I decided to launch my company, maybe even a month. It was like, I'm launching this company. I put money into it and then was like, oh, you're pregnant. So I,
Ta-da!
yeah, we weren't, to be honest, we weren't trying. Obviously a huge blessing, but it was just very unexpected, especially when I was trying to launch a company. So I found out I was pregnant in November and launched in January. So I think from the very beginning, I had to figure out how I'm going to balance both the mom life and the work life. And then I got pregnant when he was 10 months old. So I had two, they're a year and a half apart. So since opening my company 3.5 years ago, I've had two kids. So I think it's just,
Literally, you have like 3 babies.
yes, 3 babies and a dog, of course. But I don't know. I think because it's all I've ever known since having my own company, 2020 kind of put a wrench into things because we had this really good routine going, and routine is, as you know, when you're running a company, it's everything. And then all of a sudden they weren't in daycare, and they still haven't gone back to full-time daycare because I'm not getting as much work as I was expected to. So they're only in daycare at the moment 2 days a week. So I'm either working after they go to bed or working weekends. So that part, I wish I had like, and I just don't know. I'm just winging it with them.
Yeah, I think we are all flying by the seat of our pants is my statement these days. It may look organized, and I'm glad it does, but I also think we should let people know the shitstorm that is behind the scenes too.
100%. And that's why I'm just being totally honest. Like, I still don't know what I'm doing as far as childcare and all that goes, but we'll figure it out. And once more work rolls in, obviously we will have to adjust. So it's just, everybody's in the same boat though. In 2020, everyone was in it. I'm fortunate I don't have to homeschool my children because they're little. They're 3 and 1.5. Because I don't know how people are doing that. I mean, kudos to everyone.
It's a lot. It's a lot and every family dynamic is different, right? Whether they already homeschooled or they were on the verge of like part-time or if whatever, it's a lot. So it is a little bit of like a blessing to have kids that are not old enough to understand. But at the same token, kids are very adaptable to situations. Like to them, it's just playing, or mommy and daddy are home, or is it Tuesday or is it 10 months later on a Tuesday? Like they have no concept of time. But at the same token, they're still there observing you and they're seeing like all the things you're doing. Which is my next kind of question is, I usually ask this when it comes to parents that have girls, but we can't forget about the little boys because empowering one another needs to be a team effort, right? Mm-hmm. It takes 2 sides, boys, girls, 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 parents, adults, kids, whatever, all of it. What do you want your little boys to see and know about like the work you're doing? Like, what is the significance of what you're doing? What do you want them to take away either from your work ethic or the hustle, or this is what mommy does and this is why she's doing it?
That's a really good question. I mean, I think I grew up in a family with 2 working parents. I think no matter what anybody's doing, whether it's a stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home dad, a full-time working mom, a full-time working dad, part-time, like everything is wonderful. I personally did grow up in a family with 2 working parents, and that's kind of what I saw. And I definitely think I got my work ethic from my parents, especially my dad. He owns his own company. He owns a boat dealership. He is like the typical entrepreneur. He's had so many different little like side jobs. So I've just kind of always watched that and was always very intrigued by that. Never thought I would open my own company ever. I was going to be a sports anchor my whole life. So I think just having them see that work ethic, even if both Matt and I didn't work, I just want them to know that you have to create that passion, that love, that drive in order to be successful. And I know it's so cliche to say this, but like whatever you put your mind to, you can also do it. Like I said, I never thought I would own a business. I know nothing about accounting. I know nothing about legal stuff. When I was living in Lincoln, Nebraska, I was lucky if I paid a bill a month late. Like I never got my tax renewed. So never in a million years thought I would be responsible for an entire business. But I've taught myself, thank God for Google, I've Googled everything and figured out how to do accounting. So I think it just shows whatever you put your mind to, you can do it.
Oh
And I know that's like everybody says that to say to your kids, but truly, I do believe it.
Well, not everybody says that to their kids because maybe some people have a hard time with even that whole journey in and of itself as an adult is already like, I really want to do this, but we hold
Yes.
ourselves back. We make up excuses. We have these fears. We think way too much about what other people think. It makes a difference because without other people, a business isn't going to grow, but we don't always need their opinions. So just do it.
That is so true. And I question so many of the decisions I make with my company. Like I'm still just like, wait, is this what I should be doing? And I always need that reassurance and, confidence boost from other people to be like, yeah, you should be doing this. So
Yeah, that's always good. Who doesn't love a little recognition? Which, speaking of recognition, by the time this airs, far after we're recording it today, you and I are both finalists for the Twin Cities Collective Best of 2020. And I think just being nominated and having people vote is just so amazing because you have a vision, we put it out there and people recognize it. Like just the recognition, despite who wins, is so fun. So congrats, girlfriend.
Congrats to you. I know I like messaged you about it. I've been like over the moon about it, just knowing that the community nominated us. Like that to me means everything, especially as a small business owner, one woman bands, just knowing that people are noticing us and recognizing us and supporting us. I always say a like on an Instagram post goes it's such a long way for people. Like I know that seems silly but it really isn't. Like that's the best way to support local businesses is to like their stuff, to share their stuff, to support them, to encourage them. So just being recognized for anything is just such an honor.
It's a free way to support people. If they can't financially, hire or purchase, it's referring a simple comment like good job, or like you said, a share or a review or a referral. So we are going to wait a couple days, but by the time this is out there in 2021, we'll know exactly who it is. Either way, I just think it's amazing recognizing people, even if it's complete strangers, like saying, hey, really good job on that. Okay, so Falco Creative Media, how can we support you and where can we find you?
Like I just said, just following on social media, liking things, even if, because I understand that video can be expensive. Video marketing is a pricey investment, and I understand that. So even if you can't afford doing a video, or you don't even need a video for yourself, if you know a friend that does, if you know a relative that does, like just let them know about Falco Creative Media. So you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm kind of on Twitter, not with my company, just like as a sports reporter, I still kind of have that. And my website.
There you go. And I'll have all of that for people to easy access link to. Okay, so we talked about little Katie. We talked about the long distance relationship. We talked about Falco a little bit. When you are not doing like work stuff, when you have a moment to yourself, like what is your favorite go-to thing to do? And pretending COVID has never happened.
I love girl time. I love getting together with my girlfriends and having a glass of wine or just watching a movie. I've always been a very social person, so that's definitely been, like a lot of people, a big struggle with the pandemic. But there's still Zoom, there's still bottles of wine. So I love hanging out with girls. Obviously, I love hanging out with my family. I'm very big into crafting and throwing parties. Just like a side little thing that I like to do. I've gotten into reading. I think that's also kind of like a COVID thing, like kind of read when I need a reset.
Yeah,
So
your crafting is so cute. They're like themed parties. Granted, you showed on your just IG alone, like things you've done for your own family and kids is darling, but hey,
no,
if you want ideas, hit up Katie. She's got ideas.
I love throwing a party. Sometimes I'm like, maybe I should have been a party planner, but
There's
I love video too much.
the thing about creatives is like we don't just sit on the one thing. We have a million ideas, which is great and a very big like roadblock at times. But nonetheless, I think it's good to have creative outlets. What was I gonna ask? This is real life, not scripted. Oh, what kind of books are you into?
So I'm in a book club. That I think, when did we start that? Oh gosh, 2018, 2019. Anyways, I've been in a book club I never read before, so I honestly just read whatever we're reading. We really go a lot off of Reese Witherspoon's book club books because every book she suggests and that we've read has been incredible. So I have no like genre or certain type of books I like. I'll read anything. I do love like a good romance novel though.
Did you
Like,
guys read Little Fires Everywhere?
no, but that's on my list.
I saw the show on Hulu. Amazing.
Okay, good. I need a new show to watch too. I watch a lot of TV. I don't know why I didn't mention that earlier when you asked what I do. I watch so much TV.
Yeah, what's one of your favorite go-to shows, or what do you like to binge?
The Office is like always on in our house. That's just background noise. We just always have shows on.
Classic. Want to know a confession? I've never really watched The Office.
You need to watch The Office.
I think I'm the only one in the world.
You need to watch The Office. It's just like I said, like a great background show. And I still laugh. I've probably seen every episode a dozen times, and every time I watch it, I still just laugh as hard. It's just so good.
They have the best quotes. I mean, whenever I see Steve Carell, I'm like, okay, I love him already. You know?
Yeah, it's so good.
Amy Poehler. Yeah, what other shows?
I'm trying to think of. I mean, I really watch like so many shows, Arrested Development and Veep, and what did we recently? The Undoing. We watched that. That was really good. I mean, if there's like a show that everybody's talking about, I'll binge it that week.
If it's trending on number 1 or 2, I need to add it to the list.
Yeah, 100%. That and movies. Like, we watch a lot of movies in our house. That's Matt and our like date night is
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah, same. Okay, so girl time, obviously the best of the best, and we are gonna have a girl night eventually. So 2021, mark that down. If you were to go back to your 16-year-old self and that sweet girl Katie, who, you know, at one point was kicked out of kindergarten, what would you tell 16-year-old Katie today?
What wouldn't I tell 16-year-old?
Oh, Lordy, how much time do we have with that conversation?
I would tell her all of the things. In all seriousness, I think just to always be kind. And I think when we're 16 specifically, and honestly, like this is something that has just become very important to me, is supporting other women. Like, women are not the competition. Let's promote each other. Let's build each other up. You're going to be a better person because of it, and collaborate with as many women as you can. I think for the longest time, and maybe it was because I was a sports reporter in a very, very competitive industry, that it took me a while, sadly, to realize how important it is to support one another.
Yeah, it has got to be something more and more women understand and then adhere to. Clearly, anyone that sees the things I talk about, this is like the bread and butter of it. So I am so in love with what you would go and tell 16-year-old Katie.
Especially at such a young age, because I mean, high school girls can be mean too. So I think, I wish I would have, and I've had very, very close girlfriends, but I don't think I was ever like I need to go out of my way to support other bits. Like, I was a sports reporter. Like, I worked around 40 men. There was 45 at our station, and there were only 3 women.
Yeah.
So I was just surrounded by men. So starting my own company, I realized like this is going to be a huge part of my company, a huge part of who I am. I want to collaborate with women. I want to lift them up. I want to support them in whatever ways I can. So in Twin Cities,
be cheerleaders for each other. I'm telling you, yes, I totally have pom-poms. I bought them on Amazon before season 4 because totally me. Also, I was a former cheerleader, so there's an award for that. Anyways, not about me.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, Twin Cities, though, it's something about it here. Everybody is so wonderful. Like, women really do want to help everyone out. Like, even just how we met. We haven't even met in person, and here we are. You know what I mean? It's just, I love this community, and I'm so grateful for it. And I feel like it was the perfect place for me to move in order to open a company.
Oh, I'm so glad. You know what? Thank you for sharing all your stories, including the podcast thing about like your adventurous family. And then you still didn't tell me who ate the Chinese food. So I guess I have to find out through the podcast, but also that you got kicked out of kindergarten. So I'm like already like just hooked. So more to come on Katie, Falco Creative Media. Follow her. I will add all the things so that everybody here knows exactly what to do and where to go. If there is one like big, hairy, scary goal and vision that you have in the next few years, what would that be for you to knock out of there?
I don't know. I think it's just going to be keep pivoting the business with what the world throws at us, because conference and events, that was my big thing in my company. And I don't know when big conferences and events will return. So I think just for me, my biggest goal is to continue to pivot, to continue to come up with ideas and work with companies and help companies. Again, I know video marketing can be expensive, but I am more than willing to work with any clients within their budget. My whole goal is to help local small businesses. So we will figure out a way to make a video happen for you. So I think just
amazing.
Being out in the community is honestly just my biggest goal. I don't have any plans to hire anybody anytime soon. So I think that's just it, is to keep getting my name out there, networking, becoming friends with people like you, and just kind of growing my business that way.
Yay. Yes. Okay. I can do that. I can help, refer, and actually, hopefully we can have some projects in the works too. So before we wrap up totally, I don't have like exact trivia questions because I like to stump people sometimes. And now I'm thinking I probably should have looked up some like sports related. Anyways, I am going to do a speed round though. So you have like 0.5 seconds to even think of an answer, and you just have to spit them out on these topics.
This is going to be really bad, but okay. Yes.
We're not going to kick you out of this Zoom like they did in kindergarten, but I just want to know how you respond. I just think that's the funniest story ever. Okay, spaghetti or tacos?
Spaghetti.
Okay, there's no wrong answers, but I'm questioning that one a little bit. I'm just kidding.
I'm Italian. Anytime you throw pasta out there, it's going to be the pasta choice.
How dare I? Spaghetti or pizza?
Pizza.
Okay. How about spaghetti meatball pizza? Anyhow, lipstick or mascara?
Lipstick.
Ferrari or Bugatti?
Ferrari.
Basketball game or football game?
Football game.
Football game or hockey game?
Football game.
Oh, okay. She's die hard. Beach cruise? Beach or cruise? Beach cruise.
Beach. I've never been on a cruise, but beach.
Some cruises have their, stops. And then let's see, last one, coffee or wine?
Ooh, wine. I don't know. It depends if I need a function or not.
How rude of a question is that?
I know, that's really tough because I can't start my day without a cup of coffee. So it might have to be coffee. I think it would be coffee.
Okay, so I think the go around is to have coffee with some Baileys in it, or wine that's like got coffee flavor. I've heard of that before. Haven't tried it, but
Ooh. Yeah, you try it and you let me know how it is.
We're going to be adventurous. Well, thank you so much for sharing a little bit of your world and your amazing magical self doing all the fantastic things. You people out there, follow Katie, follow HitaTalk, and until next time, adios.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.